Okay, so what I've got is I got Danny's work here, and we're looking at building a katana uh, mount weapon rack. What we want to do is kind of get the spline shape that Danny was going for is correct. His original spline shape was more towards a higher quality, and what I did was actually just turn down the interpolation. Because default's at 6, and so if I go in here and I just edit poly, it should give us a cleanish view. And it gives a lot of polygons that we don't want to deal with right now, because I mean, like, we have to connect all these vertices, and that could be a real troublesome thing. But we want to keep the polygon count, and we want to keep the actual quality count. So let's go ahead and plan that out first. All right, so what I'm going to do is go ahead and get rid of the polygon, and I'm going to go ahead and delete the second piece, and I'm going to move this down, holding shift. I'm going to duplicate that. Put that, I think, at that 1, 2, 3, right there. I'm going to make it an instance. That way I can work on 2 at the same time. Go back here, and then we'll go ahead and add that. If we go ahead and make that 2, which it is, so we'll go ahead and add the edit poly. And edit poly, what that does is it allows us to work on one side at a time. We can duplicate that later. So before we do the full-on extrude, I can go ahead and start getting my connections made. So again, if I hit connect, and then I can go ahead and click on this one right here and hit my semicolon, I get a connect and repeated the same functionality. And like I said, it does work on delete, so if you hit delete, let's go ahead and get this connected right. Do a connect there. So if I hit this and I hit delete and I go over here and I hit semicolon, it's going to delete it as well. So be careful. So connect, semicolon. And another way you can do this, if you right click and click, you have this highlighted, it was the last function you did. This is the last function I did up here. If I click on this blue box, that'll also repeat the actual function. So you can, if you're not using edit poly, the quads will always let you repeat your functions as well. So now I've got this big end gone. So go ahead and select that polygon. It has 10 vertices selected, but it's still a 13-sided polygon. So let's go ahead and do an inset. And an inset will allow us to build kind of a piece of geometry in the inside of our face. And that lets us see a lot more of where our connections can be. One of the things I can do is start kind of reducing our count. So if I do a connect right there, that goes from a that kind of hides this vertex. I go here, just like that one. Connect that one. Let's see. I'm gonna hold up on that real quick, and I'm probably not gonna be able to avoid it. Let's do another inset and see what's going on here. Probably not gonna be able to avoid it too much, but I think I won't be able to get to this guy yet. Of course, I don't know what I'm talking about when I say I'm not going to avoid it. I'm not going to be able to avoid. I don't think what I'm talking about in terms of avoiding. I don't know if I want to or if I will be able to not make these kinds of connections here to help me reduce my poly count. All right, so I got a lot more than I need right now, but it also gives me some places to work with. So if I go here, right collapse, it's not what I want, but we can work with that. So let's do target weld and get rid of a layer. Actually, here, let's watch this. Let's do this. Hold shift and get rid of that one. Right, collapse. Alright, that's not bad. You know, I got it reduced down to a good size. It's not too unbearably tacky or difficult to work with. And we can work on some other shapes here. So one of the things I want to work on is also look at your reference and see how the round shape is on the actual object. Danny, you see this? See the shape here? It's more like an actual U, and you've got more like a V-shaped horn. So we're going to add a couple more pieces of geometry, kind of add that curve. In terms of strategy, I'd probably actually put it on the horn versus the actual body and curve it that way, because it's easier to deal with the smaller piece than the big piece. Does that make sense? So we'll go ahead and get that set up. Go to edge mode. Throw another set of connections in here. Let's see if we can do it with this. This may work, this may not work. We'll see. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100, 101, 102, 103, 104, 105, 106, 107, 108, 109, 110, 111, 112, 113, 114, 115, 116, 117, 118, 119, 120, there. Okay, we'll go and see if we can do a connect here. Sweet. Because the reason why I want to do it that way is I can actually kind of move them all at once. I start getting some shape here. On the same note, I may just rebuild it. I'll tell you what, I'm going to go forward with it, and I'll tell you how I can rebuild it. So let's undo that connection. Let's just go forward with this, what we got now. What I'm going to do here, I'm going to do something a little different. I grab this border, and we know we can hold shift and move and create that geometry. Before I do that, what I want to do is grab this whole polygon and hold shift and create a duplicate there, clone to element. I'm going to flip it. And the reason why is the first thing I want to do here is I'm going to get into my UVs and go ahead and unwrap the major pieces. Where's my open? Alright. Now let's take a look and make sure we know which one's which. I'm going to hit isolate. Go to texture checker. And we're going to flip the one we have. Alright, cool. Now let's go here and let's pack it. And you know what? I'm going to actually work in this in a little bit different. Slide that right there so we can find it a little later. And it's a little taller than that. Cool. Alright, so go ahead and collapse this down. Collapse 2. Unisolate. We still have our instance. That just made it unique. I remember the point of the instance is being able to get this point. I can hit bridge and see it over here. Alright, so we're starting to get a good shape here. And what we want to do now is start thinking about how we're going to chamfer this and get some edges out of this so that we can make more awesome geometry. First thing I want to do is I'm going to chamfer this edge. I'm going to undo that. I'm going to check out this. It looks like it's cancel. Looks like I'm screwing up. Let's do bridge again. Cancel. What happened here? Something happened. There we go. That's bridge. Cool. That was weird. Now everything's still lined up here. Real quick, let's go ahead and get rid of this geometry. We'll control and remove or control backspace. Do that here. Do that here. Cool. Getting there. Go ahead and save as. Now let's grab this one and start kind of playing around with some things. Alright, so if we look at the reference, we see that there's a nice smooth curve here. So let's go and talk about that. To be honest, what I may do is rebuild the horns all together. And so let's talk about rebuilding something to be a little bit more effective. Let's go into, I'm going to do this in a circle. And I'm actually wanting it to be more of an oval. So that's what that looks like to me. A little bit of an oval. And I'm going to go in here, make it an editable spline. I can go to 2, and I can actually detach this just like I would at the edit polygon. Hit detach, same shape. Now I can go into spline and go here. And what I want to do here is create a connection between these 2 points. Great line. Let's make sure it snaps on. And on vertex. Yes. Yes. And let's go see what we got here. Take a snap off. I'm gonna go to spline. All right, cool. I'll grab this whole thing. Change my working pivot to the selection. Snap on. There we go. Alright, so this video may be a little long, but I'm going to get through it pretty quickly. So I'm going to use this as a hook. Actually, I'm going to do that real quick. Use this, scale the whole thing down. Because we're going to actually have this. And it's going to be like this. Actually, let's do this. There's some reference for me. Yeah, so I'm going to use that as a basis. For the first thing before I get into it, I'm going to show you what I'm going to do next. Next steps, basically I'm going to start off with this piece. Do a quick, instead of an inset, I'm going to do a bevel. And I want to show you something about beveling on this real quick. Right now it's beveling off the side and acting kind of wonky. If I click on this arrow right here, hit local normal, I get more of the effect that I'm after. Take that and then make it a little bit bigger. We can start getting that shape that we're after in here. This nice round shape right there. Alright, I'm going to stop this video and I'm going to upload another one right after this. I want to rebuild the shape and start with that kind of tactic next because we got an interesting shape here. It's going to take a while to build. So I'm going to reformulate how we're going to attack those. Alright, so we'll be right back.